I, 32F, have been married to Kevin, 34M, for the past 8 years. We had a happy marriage and 2 beautiful kids together, Ryan, 6M, and Mia, 4F. This whole drama started when my brother Sam, 29M, announced that he was getting married to his girlfriend of 2 years, Rachel, 27F. I still remember the day Sam introduced Rachel to our family. It was during our annual summer barbecue 2 years ago. She walked in wearing a simple blue dress and carrying a homemade apple pie. Within minutes, she had charmed everyone with her warmth and genuine personality. My mom particularly loved how Rachel would always offer to help in the kitchen during family gatherings, something none of her previous daughters-in-law did. Rachel worked as a nurse at the local hospital in the pediatric ward. She would often bring small gifts for my kids when she visited. Ryan and Mia absolutely adored her and would get excited whenever she came over. She would spend hours playing board games with them or helping them with their art projects. Sam would just sit there watching them with the biggest smile on his face. Sam and Rachel's relationship seemed perfect from the outside. They both had good jobs, shared similar values, and genuinely cared for each other. Sam worked as a software developer at a local IT firm and made good money. They had already bought a house together and were planning to start a family soon after marriage. The proposal was straight out of a romantic movie. Sam had taken Rachel to the same restaurant where they had their first date. He had arranged for the chef to hide the ring in her dessert. Rachel was so excited that she forgot to eat the dessert and almost swallowed the ring. We all laughed when Sam told us this story during their engagement party. My parents were over the moon about the engagement. Mom had always worried about Sam settling down as he was quite focused on his career. She immediately started planning the wedding, making lists of guests, and looking at possible venues. Dad, who was usually very reserved about spending money, told Sam he would cover all the wedding expenses. That's how much they loved Rachel. Everything was going perfectly until that fateful day when I went to visit my friend Kelly at the county clerk's office. Kelly and I had been friends since high school, and I would often drop by her workplace during lunch to catch up. That day, we were talking about Sam's upcoming wedding when Kelly's expression suddenly changed. She asked me if Rachel was divorced. I was confused and told her that Rachel had never been married before. Kelly looked concerned and said she needed to show me something. She pulled up some records on her computer that showed Rachel was legally married to someone named Marcus Thompson. The marriage certificate was dated 8 years ago, and there were no divorce records. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. How could Rachel do this to Sam? Why would she agree to marry him when she was already married to someone else? My mind was racing with questions. Kelly advised me to talk to Rachel before doing anything else. I couldn't sleep that night. Kevin noticed something was wrong, but I couldn't bring myself to tell him yet. I needed to talk to Rachel first. The next day, I asked Rachel to meet me for coffee, making sure Sam wouldn't know about our meeting. When I showed Rachel the marriage records, she turned pale. Her hands started shaking and she couldn't even hold her coffee cup properly. After a few minutes of silence, she started crying and told me everything. She met Marcus when she was 19 and working as a waitress to pay for nursing school. He was charming and swept her off her feet. After dating for just 3 months, they got married at the courthouse. Her parents were against the marriage, but she was young and in love. The marriage lasted only 6 months. Rachel discovered that Marcus was cheating on her with multiple women. When she confronted him, he packed his bags and disappeared. She tried to find him to serve him divorce papers, but he had vanished completely. He had apparently given her a fake social security number, and his family claimed they didn't know where he was. Rachel was devastated but eventually picked herself up and focused on finishing nursing school. As years passed, she convinced herself that since Marcus had disappeared and they were separated, it didn't matter that they were still legally married. When she met Sam, she fell truly in love for the first time since Marcus. She couldn't bring herself to tell him about her past marriage, fearing she would lose him. She begged me not to tell Sam, tears streaming down her face. She said she had hired a private investigator to find Marcus and was planning to get divorced before marrying Sam. She just needed more time. I felt terrible for her, but I knew this wasn't right. She was planning to commit bigamy, which was not only morally wrong but also illegal. I gave her 2 weeks to tell Sam herself. She promised she would but kept making excuses. Meanwhile, the wedding preparations were in full swing. My parents had already paid deposits for the venue and the caterers. Mom was busy finalizing the guest list and Dad was looking into hiring the band Rachel wanted. 2 weeks passed and Rachel still hadn't told Sam anything. I couldn't let this go on any longer. I knew I would feel guilty for the rest of my life if I let Sam marry someone who was already married. So I told him everything. Sam didn't believe me at first. He thought I was joking or maybe confused. But when I showed him the marriage records Kelly had given me, his face fell. He confronted Rachel that same night. She tried to minimize the whole thing, saying it was just a stupid mistake from her past and that Marcus meant nothing to her. But Sam was more hurt by her lying than her being married. He said he couldn't trust someone who could keep such a huge secret from him for 2 years. He called off the wedding immediately. My parents were initially angry at me for ruining Sam's relationship. Mom had already sent out some of the wedding invitations and Dad had paid non-refundable deposits. But when they understood the gravity of the situation, they agreed I did the right thing. Rachel's family was furious with me. Her sister Sarah started spreading rumors in our social circle about how I was jealous of Rachel because she was younger and prettier than me. She said I couldn't stand to see Sam happy and wanted to destroy Rachel's life. My husband Kevin supported my decision but suggested that maybe I should have waited until Rachel found Marcus and got divorced. Now Sam is severely depressed. He took a leave from work and spends most of his time locked in his apartment. He won't talk to anyone except Kevin sometimes. Rachel keeps trying to contact him but he has blocked her everywhere. I feel guilty seeing Sam like this but I know I did the right thing. I couldn't let him marry someone who was already married and had lied to him for years. Ida for exposing Rachel's secret marriage? Update 1 first, I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Most of you supported my decision to tell Sam about Rachel's marriage, which helped me feel less guilty about the whole situation. A lot has happened in the past 2 months, and I need to share these shocking developments with you all. The private investigator Rachel hired finally found Marcus. He was living in Ohio, just 3 states away from us. When Kelly heard this, she helped us get access to Ohio's marriage records. What we found was disturbing. Marcus had remarried 5 years ago to a woman named Amy Johnson and they had 2 kids together, a 4-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl. When Rachel's lawyer contacted Marcus about the divorce, his current wife Amy reached out to me through Facebook. Her message was heartbreaking. She had no idea Marcus was already married when she married him. She was devastated to learn that her marriage wasn't even legal and that her children were technically illegitimate. She had quit her job as a kindergarten teacher when their first child was born because Marcus insisted he made enough money to support them. Amy asked if we could talk over the phone. When I called her, she broke down completely. She told me how Marcus had been acting strange for the past few weeks, ever since Rachel's lawyer contacted him. He had started working late, was being secretive with his phone, and had suddenly become very interested in their financial documents. I felt terrible for Amy. She was in an even worse situation than Rachel. At least Rachel had her career and financial independence. Amy had been a stay-at-home mom for 4 years with no income of her own. She asked me if I could help her get in touch with Rachel's lawyer, which I did. But before Amy could take any legal action, Marcus pulled his disappearing act again. He cleaned out their joint bank account, leaving Amy with just $243 to her name. He took their car and left her stranded with 2 young children. Amy had to call her parents, who lived 6 hours away, to come pick them up. She and the kids are now living with her parents while they figure out what to do next. The police are looking for Marcus but haven't had any luck finding him. They discovered he had used fake social security numbers and forged documents multiple times. The bank account he emptied had over $87,000 in it, most of which was Amy's inheritance from her grandmother that she had received last year. Rachel finally got her divorce from Marcus since he was served the papers before he disappeared. She tried to use this opportunity to reconcile with Sam. She came to our house one evening when Sam was visiting. She apologized for everything and told him she was now legally divorced and free to marry him. But Sam wasn't interested. He told her that the issue was never about her being married, it was about her lying to him for 2 years. He said he could never trust her again. The most shocking development came last week when Amy's lawyer discovered that Marcus had 2 more wives in different states. He had married a woman named Jennifer in Florida 3 years ago and another woman named Lisa in Texas 7 years ago. His pattern was always the same: he would marry women who had some money or inheritance, convince them to put their assets in joint accounts, and then disappear with everything. Rachel and Amy decided to go to the police together. They're working with detectives who specialize in fraud cases. The authorities are now treating this as a multi-state criminal investigation. Marcus is wanted for fraud and bigamy in at least 4 states. The FBI is also involved because he crossed state lines while committing these crimes. Sarah, Rachel's sister, finally came to see me yesterday. She apologized for spreading rumors about me. She admitted that Rachel had confided in her about Marcus 2 years ago, but she thought it wasn't a big deal since they were separated. She said she never imagined Marcus would turn out to be such a career criminal who had destroyed multiple families. My parents now tell me they're proud of me for speaking up. Mom says if Rachel had married Sam, Marcus might have shown up years later to cause problems or try to extort money from them. Dad has been helping Amy find a good lawyer to fight for her children's rights. Kevin pointed out something interesting. If I hadn't exposed Rachel's secret marriage, Marcus might have continued his scheme for years, targeting more women. In a way, this whole mess led to him being exposed, and hopefully, he'll be caught soon and face justice. Sam is still processing everything, but he's doing better now. He's back at work and has started going to the gym again. He feels terrible for Amy and her kids and has been helping them by sending groceries and toys for the children. It's nice to see him caring about someone again after months of depression. I know this update probably isn't what anyone expected, but life is stranger than fiction sometimes. I'll keep you all posted if there are any more developments in catching Marcus or helping his victims get justice. Anyone know if the children's birth certificates will be affected by their parents' marriage being invalid? Amy is worried about this, and I'd appreciate any legal advice. Update 2: the past few months have been a roller coaster. Marcus was finally arrested in Florida last week. He was living with a wealthy widow and was actually planning to marry her next month. The FBI found him through his Instagram account, where he was posting photos of expensive restaurants and yacht parties. Turns out his downfall was his love for showing off his lavish lifestyle. When the police arrested him, they found multiple fake IDs, forged documents, and credit cards in different names. They also discovered that he had stolen over $400,000 from various women over the years. The widow he was living with had already given him access to her investment accounts. She broke down at the police station when she learned about his other wives. Rachel testified against him in court along with Amy, Jennifer, and Lisa. It was the first time all of Marcus's wives were in the same room. The prosecutor is pushing for the maximum sentence since Marcus showed no remorse. He actually had the audacity to smirk when Rachel was giving her testimony. But the biggest surprise wasn't Marcus's arrest. It was what happened between Sam and Amy. When Amy came to town for Marcus's trial, she stayed at our parents' house with her kids. Sam offered to help her with childcare during the trial days since she couldn't afford a babysitter. At first, I thought Sam was just being nice because he felt bad for Amy's situation. But soon I noticed how he would light up whenever Amy was around. He started spending all his free time with her and the kids, taking them to the park or helping the older one with his preschool homework. Amy's kids absolutely adore Sam. Her son Jack started calling him Uncle Sam and would cry when he had to leave. Her daughter Emma would only eat if Sam was the one feeding her. It was heartwarming to see how naturally Sam fit into their lives. Last month, Sam finally admitted to me that he and Amy had been dating for a few weeks. He was worried about what everyone would think, him dating Marcus's other wife. But honestly, everyone in the family is thrilled. Amy is nothing like Rachel. She's genuine, honest, and puts her kids first. Rachel found out about Sam and Amy through mutual friends. She didn't take it well. She showed up at Sam's apartment one night, completely drunk, screaming about how he was trying to get revenge on her by dating Amy. Sam had to call the police to get her to leave. Sarah later called to apologize for Rachel's behavior and informed us that Rachel was going to therapy to deal with her issues. The most heartwarming part of this whole situation is how my parents have embraced Amy and her kids. Mom is teaching Amy how to bake her famous apple pies, and Dad has already started a college fund for both Jack and Emma. My kids love having new cousins to play with, and our family gatherings are livelier than ever. Kevin and I invited Amy and her kids for Thanksgiving dinner. She made this amazing sweet potato casserole that everyone loved. During dinner, Jack announced to everyone that he wanted Sam to be his new daddy. The look on Sam's face was priceless, a mixture of joy, surprise, and love. I haven't seen my brother this happy in years. Rachel moved to Seattle for a fresh start. Sarah told me she's doing well in her new job at a bigger hospital and has joined some support groups. She still sends occasional texts to Sam, but he doesn't respond. I sometimes feel bad for her, but then I remember how she was willing to commit bigamy and lie to my brother for years. Marcus's trial is set for next month. His lawyers tried to negotiate a plea deal, but the prosecutor refused since they have solid evidence of his crimes. Amy's lawyer is also working on getting her marriage annulled and securing child support from Marcus, though everyone knows he'll probably never pay it. Sam told me yesterday that he's planning to propose to Amy once her marriage to Marcus is legally annulled. He's already picked out a ring, nothing flashy, just a simple solitaire that suits Amy's understated style. He asked me to help plan a small, intimate proposal because he knows Amy wouldn't want anything grand or public. Looking back, I'm so glad I spoke up when I discovered Rachel's secret. Even though it caused a lot of pain initially, it led to Marcus being caught and prevented him from hurting more women. And somehow, through all this chaos, my brother found his true happiness. Sometimes life works in mysterious ways. Update 3: I can't believe how much has changed since my first post. Sam and Amy got married last weekend in our parents' backyard. It was a small ceremony with just family and close friends. Amy wore a simple cream-colored dress, and her kids matched in cream outfits. Jack was the ring bearer, and Emma was the flower girl, though she ended up throwing all the petals at Sam instead of the aisle. The most touching moment was during the vows when Sam included special promises to Jack and Emma. He promised to always be there for them, to love them as his own, and to never leave them like their biological father did. There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. Even my dad, who never cries, was wiping tears away. They're now in the process of legally changing the kids' last names to Sam's. Amy's lawyer said it should be straightforward since Marcus lost all parental rights after his conviction. Speaking of Marcus, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison and ordered to pay restitution to all the women he defrauded. The judge was particularly harsh because Marcus showed no remorse and actually tried to flirt with a female prosecutor during the trial. Rachel attended the sentencing but left quickly after. According to Sarah, she's engaged to a doctor she met at her new hospital in Seattle. They've been dating for 4 months and are planning a small courthouse wedding next spring. Sarah says Rachel had to show her new fiancé all her legal documents to prove she was actually divorced this time. I guess she learned her lesson. Amy has started working part-time at the local elementary school now that the kids are a bit older. Sam adjusted his work schedule so he can pick up the kids when Amy has afternoon shifts. It's amazing to see how seamlessly they've blended their lives together. My kids love having Jack and Emma around more often, and our family dinners have become quite lively affairs. The most surprising development was that Amy's parents decided to move closer to us. They bought a house just 20 minutes away. They said they couldn't bear to be far from their grandkids, but I think they also want to be close to Sam, who they've come to love like a son. They're actually the ones who helped Sam and Amy put a down payment on their new house. My relationship with Sarah has become cordial. We see each other at mutual friends gatherings but don't talk much beyond basic pleasantries. She did pull me aside at a recent party to thank me for exposing the truth, saying it probably saved Rachel from bigger legal troubles down the line. Rachel and I have no contact now, which is probably for the best. She sent me a long email last month apologizing for everything and explaining how therapy has helped her understand why she made those choices. I appreciated the apology but didn't respond. Some bridges are better left uncrossed. Mom has been pestering Sam and Amy about giving her more grandkids, but they're focusing on giving Jack and Emma stability right now. After everything these kids have been through with Marcus, they need time to feel secure in their new family. Looking back at everything that happened, I'm grateful that I trusted my instincts and spoke up. What started as a difficult decision led to Marcus being caught, prevented him from hurting more women, and somehow brought Sam and Amy together. Life really does work in mysterious ways. This will probably be my last update. Our family has found its new normal, and we're all happier for it. Sometimes doing the right thing is hard, but it usually works out in the end.